Last year, 2022, I am pretty sure we can all agree Project Apex was on top by quite a mile, having better tracks, a better chassis, better UI, and generally an overall better experience than Ion Formula. However, with both games having released their new big 2023 updates, is that still the case? To make this video as fair as possible, I've made 8 categories with which we're going to compare Project Apex with Ion Formula. And now that you can see all of them on your screen, I would like to delay this video no more and get right into this comparison. Starting off, tracks. Ion Formula has made a huge bump in terms of track quality, especially with their latest additions, France and Japan. They have for sure come a long way from their first circuits that had no decoration and were there just for driving. There was no focus on them being aesthetically pleasing. However, I am happy to report that that is not the case anymore. As you can see by these shots, there are trees, grandstands, buildings, billboards, custom sponsors, fully custom-made roads for Japan. Need I say more? Ion Formula has made a huge jump in terms of track design, but is it enough to overtake Project Apex's designs? Short answer, we're very close, but not yet. I mean, for sure, the track design has been improved massively, but if we look at all of their tracks, there are still some that lack proper decoration. I'll let you decide between a PH track and an Ions one. You tell me which one you prefer more. Again, need I say more? I don't think so. While yes, Ion Formula has been achieving more with their past few tracks, we don't see nearly as much attention to detail as in Project Apex. And for that, Project Apex takes the first W. Race mode. It's been a pretty big issue for Project Apex these past few days. They haven't been able to figure out why it's not working properly, with UI glitching and stutters along the gameplay, but they have announced that they are working on an entirely new system. Until that is done, I think Ion Formula has the clear advantage in this category. Last year, they introduced an entirely new system that separated practice with actual races. You yourself can create a custom lobby, and finally, after a long time of asking, you can make a classic car only lobby, or a safety car only race. If you have the game passes, you can make lobbies for any car in the game. And better yet, Ion decided they would give us this experience for free. While you can't select liveries, you can drive Game Pass cars in races without needing to buy them. That has earned them huge respect from me, and to round this category up, Ion Formula is definitely the clear winner. On the topic of classic and generally Game Pass cars, I feel like both games are generally even. They both have classic cars that are beautifully modeled. Ion has this OP Red Bull X 2010 concept car, which is pretty expensive but still quite good. Project Apex has this Arrow car, which is basically an Indy car, which was released last year. Ion has a safety car Game Pass, while Project Apex is expected to get one. But what really separates Project Apex from Ion in terms of classic cars is the fact that not all of them are under Game Passes. Project Apex recently released a 2007 car pack, which has been excellent from what I heard from, because I'm too poor to buy it, but most importantly, it's not under a Game Pass. Same goes for most of their cars, with the only exceptions being the Arrow car and the 2016 cars. However, that is understandable, they gotta make money somehow. But, rounding up with this too, while Ion has excellent extra cars, they are all under Game Passes, making them pretty inaccessible to most. However, while Project Apex also has extra cars, they are not all under Roblox paywalls. And that, for me, is a clear win for Project Apex. Damage is a pretty hard thing to make in Roblox. As you may or may not know, Roblox is known for its awful collision physics. There's a lot of vision lag, and that's why games with collidable cars are unplayable. With bad collision physics comes the problem of how do you make a front wing break if there is a slight touch on the wall? Answer is, I have no idea, but both games have taken advantage of every last trick they could to make what can arguably be considered as the best damage model on Roblox. There's no clear winner in this, as both games do this well considering how bad the Roblox engine is with collisions, and so for that, here's the first draw of the video. UI doesn't change the driving experience you get while playing racing games. It does, however, change the overall experience someone can have in that game. As much as you may not believe me, UI is a core feature of games. It's the feature with which a player can get from point A to point B. And as fast, smooth, and aesthetically pleasing as that is, the better the player feels. Better UI means a better overall experience, and I think Project Apex has a clear advantage. Ion's menus feel stuttery. The garage system is a bit too complicated in my opinion. You don't know where you should look first. Fuel, tires, setup, I just feel like it's a bit too much, and so much more so on the new players. New players aren't familiar with UI, and it's a bit difficult for them to find what they're looking for in all of that, let's call it a small pileup. While Project Apex only gives you one thing to look at a time. You press play, you get to choose one car type, then you select delivery and you spawn it. That's what a good UI experience is. And it feels like Project Apex only improved in terms of UI with their latest update, bringing in much more modern and simpler looking menus that are also much more smoother and easier on the eye. Clear win for Project Apex. The models. That's a tough one. I'll say it right out of the gate. Both games do this pretty well in their own ways. Last year, Project Apex would be the clear winner. However, Ion Formula, I have to say, has improved quite a lot. They listened to their players and they made a better looking and feeling model. We will talk about the feeling of both next, however, just purely aesthetically, both games excel in modeling. Nothing too different from actual F1 cars, and so I'll give this a draw. Before I get into this category, let me explain what I mean by complexity. I'll focus on how advanced both chassis are. Fuel, DRS, ERS, setups, all the complex systems. As you all know, Project Apex doesn't yet have any setup systems or fuel systems. Ion Formula, on the other side, has the most complex chassis on Roblox. Just take their ERS mixes for example. You can charge your battery by redirecting the power your car makes into the battery, and while we have gotten used to this feature, I haven't seen anything similar in raw racing before. With the last few updates, Ion also introduced fuel. With their excellent fuel mixture system, fuel is such an amazing feature to have. If you have more fuel than necessary, you can switch into hot lap mode and get those extra few tenths from your race. Or similarly, if you have less fuel, you can switch to lean in order to make sure you finish. While yes, Project Apex has DRS and ERS systems, their ERS system doesn't even come close to Ion's. And for all of that, better ERS, fuel, setups, Ion takes the clearest yet win in this episode. So last category, the chassis. Probably the most important factor of a racing game. It can be the deciding factor of whether a player plays your racing game again or not. And in this case, I feel like we can't compare these chassis. While a few people do like Project Apex's one, it's quite clear that their 2023 cars were not up to today's standards. If we try to compare them and literally any other game to Ion, you will see why every single game in raw racing lacks something. I'm not going to bring up any other games, but if we just compare Project Apex to Ion, I feel like Ion is the clear winner. Last year, Project Apex would be on top, but I do feel like this year the tables have turned, and Ion's chassis is back to the one we used to absolutely adore back in the day. It feels satisfying to drive, it feels fast, it feels smooth, it has just the right amount of oversteer and understeer, but most importantly, it is fun to drive. I feel like people tend to forget what video games are about. They are a break from reality and they should be fun. Project Apex, however, doesn't have a fun chassis this year. For a few people, the chassis is okay, but for me, it has gotten very repetitive. There's some serious mid-corner oversteer and understeer which makes the chassis very hard to control. And no, it's not my skill issue. F1 cars should not be that hard to drive in the first place. And so for that, Ion is the clear winner of the handling side. So, that's a draw. But Arthur, you made us watch this whole comparison video for nothing? No winner? Well, my dear viewers, both games are top quality. All the developers have poured their hearts into making this experience good for us to enjoy. If you want a winner, right now Ion Formula for me has a good advantage. Yes, the UI might be messy, but generally they have a better chassis. Good tracks, the best race mode, and better features. Project Apex, however, isn't far off. Their tracks are awesome, yes, their chassis feels a bit off, but I know they will do their hardest to make sure their next update fixes all of its issues. Thank you so much for watching this video. It took a really long time for me to make, and a sub would be appreciated. But until the very next time, do stay safe, and bye bye.